Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Wishwell Farms. It's the start of a new week here at the farm. My name is Jason, and today we are harvesting winter squash. We're going to show you the entire process of cutting, rowing, loading, washing, and packing all of these beautiful spaghetti and butternut squash. It is shaping up to be an awfully warm one for mid-September, so let's get started. All right, we got one little thing we got to do before we start cutting winter squash. I got the crew out here picking zucchini and cucumbers. They're done with that, and I was having them row up some cantaloupes, thinking there was only going to be about one bin. I thought they were about done, but this warm, sunny weather has really brought the cantaloupes back, our third and final patch. So I got to take the tractor and the flatbed out there, and we're going to have about 3 or 4 bins of cantaloupes to load up. So let's go out there and knock that out first, get them in the cooler, and then we will start cutting our winter squash. Pretty decent cantaloupe harvest for this little patch. But they're just about done after today's harvest. We'll get a few more later in the week and maybe a few next week, and they'll be finished for 2025. So we just have 4 rows here. It was 3 rows of Avatar, 1 row of Aphrodite, and we decided to line them all up kind of like we do watermelon, and tossing them up to the catchers to fill the bins. This is our third and final patch of zucchini and cucumbers. We got 2 rows of each. And our late tomatoes, we got 2 rows over there. Just a few more weeks of harvest on these and we'll be wrapping it up. So this is what a ripe butternut looks like. Has that tannish color to it. And we're cutting the stems about a 1/2 inch long. Pretty much as short as we can get them. Because when they're long, there's more risk of them breaking off and exposing the orange meat inside and poking other squash. So right now we're just cutting. And we already went through here last week once. That's why there's a lot of them already cut. But there's more that have ripened up since we last cut, and we want to get the rest of them. So here's one that's just barely ready. See how there's a light green stripes going through it, but it's starting to tan up, get that tan color, so it should finish ripening. But I wouldn't want to pick it any greener than that. Let me try to find you a green one. All right, here's one that's not ripe. I'm going to go ahead and cut it so you can see what it looks like. See how it's kind of white and green compared to a tan one. You can see the difference there. So even though a lot of these have been cut already, every now and then you get a nice cluster like this that may have not been ripe last week, but they are today. So we're just cutting and letting them lay. Then we'll come back through and we're gonna move them to the left and to the right. So whatever outside row they're closest to, that's where we will move them to. And we want them to all be big whoppers like that. That's a beautiful butternut right there. This is probably more of a standard size, average size that you see. The butternut tend to vine out really long off of the rows. So this is actually a drive trail where all this foxtail weed is that Gavin's in. There's a bunch of huge butternut out in the middle of the trail. So we got to get them cut and rowed up over here on this outside row so we don't run over them with the wagon when we're loading. And if you're wondering why we're cutting them, it's because if you pick one off the vine and try to snap off the stem, you can't break these stems. It will, I mean, you can, but they will break away from the top of the butternut squash, exposing the flesh if you try to do that. So that's why we have to cut them instead of breaking them. So here's a stem of one we cut. I mean, it's almost like wood or plastic. Almost impossible to break them. So they will almost every time, if you try to break one off like this, it'll break that part off away from the butternut. Now, spaghetti squash are easier to snap off, but they still break off a little bit long, and that is very sharp and pointy right there, and easily damages other ones in the bins. Doesn't take much. So we want to cut those as short as we can. So here's one that hasn't been cut, and I'll show you how it is possible to break them. So that's not bad. It's just easier to do it from standing up with loppers and cut them. But that is like a sharp shard right there that would damage other squash. Gavin just found a beast. This might be the biggest one in the field. We'll have to weigh this. I'm guessing maybe 12 pounds. But we got two varieties out here. We have one row of Quantum and one row of Butternut 900. And all the spaghetti squash is Primavera. As you can see, we are rowing up our spaghetti and butternut on row 1 and 4. We have 4 rows total, 2 of each. So whichever row they happen to be closest to, that's where they go. Even though it looks like there's a 5th row over here, these are just vines that grew over from row 4, because the first third of the row is okra, which, by the way, we never got to harvesting this year. I've had several people ask me about the okra. Yes, I did plant some okra this year. I was planning on harvesting it and trying to sell some at some of the farmers markets, but we were just stretched too thin most of the summer. So something had to give, and okra was an easy choice for me because when we have had some in the past, we didn't sell a lot of it. So it's a very time-consuming vegetable to harvest, and you got to snip all the little okra off. It's just a big pain. And when we have other things that we are known for growing and selling, that we got to make sure we get those items harvested and sold. So the okra got let go, unfortunately. So the rest of that okra row is blank until right here where those tomato stakes are. That's where some of those trial tomatoes are from Pan American Seeds. We're making some good progress. We'll have her finished up here in about 15 or 20 minutes, and then we can start loading up and get them up in the barn to get them washed and packed. It's the next day, and we are just wrapping up loading all of our spaghetti and butternut squash. Just a few more feet to go, and we'll be taking it up to the barn to get everything washed and packed and rolled into our storage room. It was a pretty decent harvest. We filled the entire white wagon, and it looks like we're going to get about a third of a load here in the red wagon. All right, that's it. Everything's loaded up. We beat the heat. It's gonna be 85 degrees today, pretty hot for mid-September. Glad we got it done early. Let's get up to the barn. Get that rule away off the back of that. Here's the other one. Great? Yeah. we're making some good progress. It takes a while to pull all of these squash out of the wagon by hand. It's a pretty rudimentary way to do it, but it works just fine. We only do it once a year for about 2 hours and we're done. So there's really no reason to have more specialized equipment to do this, since I'm only growing about a 1/4 acre of winter squash, 2 wagonfuls. It'll probably be 6 or 8 bins. I don't know. Let's go see what we got so far. Okay, more like 10 or 12 bins. We already got 5, and we probably got 5 or 6 more yet to do. And we sold 2 bins last weekend, so in total, we'll probably end up with somewhere between 12 and 15. Very good quality winter squash this year. Some of them aren't coming out perfectly clean, but for the most part, they are clean and good enough for farmers market sales. We normally just use the white wagon because the sideboards are lower and easier to reach inside to grab them. It was a little tougher to do the red wagon. And as you can see, they got this side just about cleared out. So what I'll do is pull the tractor out, turn around and pull back in the barn the other direction. And then all of these butternut will be right here. Another full bin to move. Just about done. I would say we're on our final bin. And these are the hard ones to get because they're kind of in the middle of the wagon. I'll probably hop up in there and push them forward. We had a little squash jam. Oh my. All right, all of the winter squash has been harvested, washed, and packed for the rest of the season. There are still a couple bins worth of smalls out in the field, and if we blow through these at the farmers markets in the next 3 weeks, we will go out and pick a couple more bins of those small ones and just discount the price. But these are all what I would consider large #1 spaghetti and butternut squash. So we ended up with 10 bins that we picked yesterday and today, and we sold 2 last weekend and 2 the prior weekend. So in total, 14 bins came out of those 5 little 400-foot rows. Not too bad. Now we're gonna get them all rolled into our tomato cooler storage room. It's kept at 61 degrees currently. These 2 bins will be left out. That is what we will sell this weekend. And then we have 3 weeks left in our season, and hopefully we can move those 8 back there. Now, if we ever get in a situation where it looks like we're gonna end up with squash at the end of the season and we don't have any more markets to sell it at, we will run a sale. I normally put 1 bin of each squash on each box truck each Saturday, but we only have 3 more weeks left. And the final 2 weeks, what we will often do is run a sale. We put a big giant price card out that says sale at the top, buy 1, get 1 free. So they buy 1 for $2, they get the next one free. So it's basically $1 per squash. And we can blow through a lot of winter squash when we run that sale. People love that and they look forward to it each year. Hopefully we won't have to do it, but I have a feeling the final week or 2 we'll end up doing it again. All right, let's check out our tomato cooler, see what it looks like in here. I think we have plenty of room. Oh yeah, So this is the last of the watermelon for the season. Just a little over 1 bin. These are some tomatoes that returned from the farmers markets last Saturday. Looks like there's about 15 boxes there. Oh, here's a few yellow watermelon left. So I'm gonna line up all that winter squash right here, and this 61 degree room, keep it nice and fresh for the next month. Yeah, 61 degrees. And that's all I use to cool this room, guys. Just a giant air conditioner that runs on 110. I guess it's not even giant, just a normal air conditioner. So I used to use this evaporator coil and a regular compressor that's out on top of the cooler out there, but it was very inefficient. And as you can see, one of the fans are out. So believe it or not, that air conditioner cools this room better than what a 3/4 horse compressor and evaporator coil could. And the thing you hear running right here, this is just a dehumidifier. We like to keep our humidity between 45 and 55% in this room. Now, when moving these heavy things around, having a power jack would be really nice, an electric jack. But I'm not gonna go spend maybe thousands of dollars on one when I only need it a few times a year. Besides, it's a good workout. That's the last of them. All right, it is now late morning, and Elijah and Gavin have left to go cook another batch of relish with my brother Joel at our certified commercial kitchen. If you are interested in seeing how we cook our sweet pepper relish in our commercial kitchen, check out the video about 2 or 3 videos before this one. I will also drop the link down in the description box below. Emma and Steven are out picking 5 bushels of peppers for this weekend's farmers markets, and I'm getting ready to go pick our final patch of green beans for 2026. And they are all new varieties. 3 of them are trial varieties that Rupp Seeds sent me to test out in our fields. And one of them is just a new variety that I trialed myself called Justify. So I'm interested to see how those 4 new varieties perform on our farm. If you are interested in seeing these trial green beans, it'll probably be the next video after this one. So consider subscribing if you haven't already so you don't miss that video when it comes out. One more thing I want to mention, actually 2 more things. First of all, I think now that we're nearing the end of the season, at least for me, since I don't grow pumpkins any longer, I'm going to go back to 2 videos per week. So probably Mondays and Fridays will be the 2 videos that I release on my channel each week. And the other item I wanted to mention is, what do I do with my downtime in the off season? I've had a lot of people ask about that, and many of you may not know that I have a second channel. It's under my name, Jason Wish, and it is all about kayak camping and long distance backpacking and some RV traveling with my wife around the country. So as of late, it's more about kayak camping during the warm months and backpacking in the spring and fall, or the colder months, kind of the shoulder season. So if you are interested in seeing anything that I do with my downtime after the farming season is over, check out the Jason Wish channel. I'll drop a link down below. This is where we're going to wrap this one up today, folks. As always, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video if you enjoyed it, and I will see you all again next time down on the farm.